When you don't have a vision for your life, you date anybody, you hang around anybody, you take any job offer that comes your way, you spend money instead of saving it, you don't invest your money, you don't try new things, you don't get new hobbies, you don't learn new skills, you do not move with intention. Hey girl, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Trinity. If you're new here, today I'm going to be sharing with y'all 5 things that have changed my life. Like literally, my life changed when I did these 5 things. Now, before we get into it, I just want to have a little chat with y'all real quick. If y'all really love me, can y'all do me a big favor? Y'all know I don't ask for much. If my content has motivated you, inspired you, influenced you in any kind of way, could you please do me the favor of clicking the link in my description box to leave a testimonial for me to become a member of the Sephora Squad? Pretty please. I took a leap of faith today and I applied for the Sephora Squad. This opportunity will open so many doors for me as a creator, and it'll also allow me to give y'all more content, better content, more resources, and it would just mean a whole lot to me if you could share a testimonial through that link. Thank you in advance. I love y'all so much. And now, without further ado, let's get right into the video. I want to give a special shout out and big thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. If you're not new to my channel, you've probably already heard of Skillshare because I've worked with them plenty of times, and not only have I worked with them, but I have taken classes myself. But if you're new and you've never heard of the platform, it is the largest online learning community for creatives. They offer so many different classes on so many different things, including photography, graphic design, illustration, just to name a few. They also have classes on things like productivity, personal development, and finance. I'm a mom, an influencer / content creator, an entrepreneur, a girlfriend, a friend. I have a lot of things I have to juggle on a daily basis. So I recently took Ali Abdal's class on how to organize your workflow and maximize productivity. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to become a more well-rounded person and to improve your life overall is learning a new skill or hobby. If you'd like to improve your life and just become a better person this summer, Skillshare offers plenty of classes and courses on just about anything you can think of. Whether you want to learn how to cook, start a YouTube channel, get into graphic design, get into illustration, Skillshare has a course for you. So I encourage you to invest in yourself by starting a learning journey on Skillshare today. Not only will this allow you to explore your creativity, but it'll also allow you to find new passions. The first 500 people to click the link in my description box will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So if you're ready to level up your life and just level up in general, click the link below and start your free trial on Skillshare today. Okay, number 1, my life started to change when I let go of perfectionism. I used to have really low confidence, and when I think back on it, my confidence was so low because I was always trying to be perfect. I had this idea in my mind of what perfect was. I had this idea in my mind of what perfection was, what perfection looked like, what beauty was, and I just always felt like I did not live up to that standard. And at a certain point, I had to tell myself, like, you hate yourself, you don't love yourself, you give yourself such a hard time because of a standard that you created. You set the bar all the way up here. Or you made yourself think that the bar was all the way up there and you were all the way down here. So change the narrative. And that's exactly what I did. I stopped telling myself that I had to look a certain way in order to be deemed beautiful. I stopped feeling like I had to be beautiful in other people's eyes. And I started doing things that made me love myself more. Being a perfectionist, honestly, in my opinion, has a lot to do with being a people pleaser. Like, they very often go hand in hand. I know someone's probably watching this thinking to themselves like, oh no, I'm a perfectionist because I just want my stuff to be at a certain standard. I just want to look a certain way for myself. And okay, kudos to you if that's your story, but that's not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people put unnecessary pressure on themselves just because they want to please other people. They want other people to like them. They want other people to think they're pretty. They want other people to like the way they dress. They want other people to be pleased with how they're living their lives. And if you're not going to let go of the idea, at least change your perception. Like, change your definition of perfection. Because the idea of perfection that a lot of us have, it's impossible. Like, you will never get there. You'll never achieve it. It'll always be a fleeting destination, and you will never find contentment in yourself. Like there will always be something you feel like you're not doing right. Something you feel like some standard you feel like you're not living up to. And I think the key to letting go of perfectionism is really controlling what you can control. If there are things about yourself that you don't like, fix those things, change those things. And whatever you cannot control, whatever you're not willing to control or change, you gotta let it go. Don't allow things you can't control to control you. And honestly, why do you have to be perfect anyway? Really think about it. Do you get some type of reward or award for being the prettiest? Do you get some type of award for having the best life, for having the most money? No, you don't. Stop talking down on yourself. Stop staring in the mirror every single day, picking yourself apart, telling yourself, oh, I hate the way my nose looks. I hate my lips. I hate my flat chest. I hate my body type. Stop doing that. It's literally doing nothing for you. There are things about me that I would like to change, and there are some things that I am eventually going to change, but I don't allow those things to make me hate myself. I still love myself while I'm in the process of getting to the point where I'm going to change those things. You have to learn how to accept yourself where you are. Your happiness and your love for yourself, your value, your self-worth should not be contingent upon whether or not you change the things you don't necessarily like. Number 2, my life started changing when I allowed myself to learn from people around me. For the longest time, I was so comfortable being the go-to person in the circle for everything. I was the one everyone came to for advice on a bunch of different things. I was always the one doing the most. And I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it was bad for me because I was purposely and intentionally pushing people away who were like ahead of me in life because it made me uncomfortable. I didn't like being around people who made me feel like I wasn't doing the daggone thing, pretty much. And that's not to say that I looked at my friends as less than me, because that was not the case at all. But I was scared of being around people who stretched me. I found my self-worth in how much I accomplished. And whenever I would be in rooms full of people who had accomplished way more than me, instead of looking at that as an opportunity for me to grow, it made me have imposter syndrome. I started feeling like I wasn't worthy of being in those rooms. So I never put myself in position to be in those rooms often. When I started hanging around people who knew more than me, people who could teach me things, people who made me feel a little uncomfortable, my life changed tremendously. It stretched me. It made me want to do more. It made me feel like I wasn't doing enough. The things I thought were such big accomplishments didn't seem super big anymore. And that's not to say that I didn't appreciate those accomplishments. That's not to say that I didn't feel like I was doing good. But being around those people who were doing better than me made me think bigger. It made me stop putting a cap on my accomplishments. It made me remove the cap and remove the ceiling on where I could go. I literally started operating like there were no limits to my success. I could literally do whatever I wanted to do. Number 3, my life started changing when I created a vision for my life. If you're not new to my channel, you've heard this a million times, and I know sometimes it may seem like I'm being repetitive, but there are people watching this video who've never seen my other videos, and I would be doing them a disservice if I did not mention this one thing. It's so important to know what you want in life. Once I really sat down and thought about what I wanted my life to look like, and I mean in every aspect, relationships, friendships, finances, family, career, my personality, like once I really thought about that and wrote it all down with no limitations, I was able to start being intentional. You cannot be intentional if you don't have an end goal. It's impossible, because what are you working for? There are so many people who are just doing things with no end result in mind. Why are you doing what you do every day? And if you can't answer that question, start with the end goal. Like, what do you want your life to look like? And once you really decide what you want your life to look like, who you want to be, you can work backwards. Working backwards is the key. You gotta know where you're going in order to go there. You don't just get in the car and drive with no destination. No, You have an idea in mind of where you're going, and you figure out what you need to do to get there. When you don't have a vision for your life, you date anybody, you hang around anybody, you take any job offer that comes your way, you spend money instead of saving it, you don't invest your money, you don't try new things, you don't get new hobbies, you don't learn new skills, you do not move with intention. If you've never seen my video on how to become the woman of your dreams, I will link that down below. That is the perfect video for you to watch if you're trying to figure out where you're going in life. Number 4, my life started to change when I started taking accountability. I had to realize that I am the problem sometimes. I know some of y'all don't want to hear that because some of y'all think everybody else is always wrong, but no, you're the problem sometimes. And not only are you the problem for other people, sometimes you're also the problem for yourself. It's very possible that you are the one holding yourself back from everything you say you want. What are you doing to contribute to your suffering? What are you doing to contribute to the fact that you've been in the same spot for God knows how long? There are so many women who say things like, I keep ending up with the same type of man, I keep getting done dirty. And my question is always, well, what have you done to change that? Of course, you cannot control other people and what they do to you and how they treat you, but some people end up in the same situations over and over and over and over and over again because there's something they're not changing about themselves. There's something you're not changing about your thought process and your dating process. Whenever I get upset about not accomplishing something by a certain time, I mean, it rarely happens, but when it does happen, I just think to myself, well, have you really been going as hard as you should be? Have you been doing all the things you need to do to get to that point? And even when the answer is yes, I've been doing all the things, sometimes I have to ask myself, have you been doing all the things to the best of your ability? And the answer is usually no. Life does not just happen. Things don't just happen. You make things happen, and you can take that in whatever way you want. You have to take accountability in every situation. And I mean, I kind of briefly touched on this, but let's go back to it. Sometimes you're the villain in someone else's life and someone else's story. A lot of people like to be the victim in every situation, and I used to be that way. I was once in a very bad relationship, and when I got into another relationship, I like to play the victim and just talk about how, oh, this happened to me, that's why I'm this way. This happened to me, that's why I act like this. This happened to me, that's why I'm always yelling and fussing and screaming and doing the most. This happened to me, that's why I had this attitude. This happened to me, that's why I'm guarded. And eventually, I had to stop being the victim. I had to take accountability for the fact that, yes, something happened to me, but that thing changed me. And now I am the problem. Now I am the villain in someone else's story. And I know that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. It was a hard pill for me to swallow, but it changed my life. It changed my mindset. It caused me to sit back and think about what I could do to improve my situation. Those things you're not taking accountability for are the things that are holding you back. And last but not least, my life changed when I started to see the good in every situation. This has truly become one of my superpowers. I used to be that person who would just think to themselves, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why is God allowing this to happen to me? What did I do wrong? Whenever something bad happened, that's where my mind would go. And eventually I had to realize that things don't just happen to me, but they happen for me. There's always some good in every situation. And I know someone right now is thinking of the worst possible thing they can think of just to see if there's really good in every situation. But no matter what you can come up with, something positive can come out of that. Like I said before, I was in a relationship that was very detrimental to my self-esteem, my confidence, my mental health. And I went through that at a pretty young age. And at the time, I did not understand why God was allowing me to go through those things. And eventually, I realized that the situation was bigger than me. I honestly figured out what my purpose was in that situation. I was crying myself to sleep every night. I was depressed. My confidence was at its lowest. I did not love myself. I did not value myself. I didn't think that I would be able to ever pick myself back up. I didn't think I would ever come back from that situation. And one day, God spoke to me and told me that I was meant to help women. I had to go through those things so that I could help other women. There was no way I could help people improve their confidence or help people to shift their mindset if I didn't go through things where I had to personally do those things. So it's like God had to put me in a situation where I had no choice but to lean on him and really do the work to become a better person, to pull myself out of that hole I was in. If I did not go through that, I don't know if I can say I wouldn't be here right now doing what I do on my channel, helping y'all, because at the end of the day, if one thing doesn't work, something else happens that makes you learn the lesson. Something else happens that pushes you into your purpose. So it may not have been that particular situation. It may not have been that specific scenario, but something would have happened that pushed me to this point. So like I said, in that moment, initially, I didn't see it, but it was revealed to me over time. And a few years later, when I started my YouTube channel and these sit downs were the only thing that really worked and helping me to grow, I realized, wow, if I didn't go through that when I was 19 years old, I would have never felt the need to minister to other women the way I do now. I would have never really felt the need to help people pull themselves out of a hole. I know how it feels to have to do it on your own. I mean, it wasn't just me, it was me and God, but literally just me and God. So I want to serve as a beacon of hope and a light for someone else who may be going through the things I went through. Someone who may be suffering with low self-esteem, low confidence, trying to navigate through a single season when they're so used to being in relationships, figuring out how to stop being so codependent. That's literally how I found my purpose. I could go on and on and on about that, and I ain't even trying to get emotional. So if y'all would like a part 2 on this, please let me know, because really I have 2 more that I could. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I really, really, really hope this video helped you, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.